Hi everybody, got Coach Allison back here coming to you from our new Rosemount location with the week 3 Defy aging workout. This week you're going to be in your own space doing a couple of things for the first portion of the routine, and then for the second portion we will be switching to a more standard rotation circuit style. The first, I'll kind of explain the breakdown and then we'll do the exercises. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to do 2 shoulder exercises. We call it kind of a pre-fatigue or pre-exhaust for one certain muscle group, and for this it's going to be shoulders. You're going to be doing 2 exercises in your own space, 10 reps each for 3 sets of those. I'll show you what those are in just a second. After that, after everyone is done, everyone will be about on the same time for that. We're going to do 7 stations in a rotation for 3 sets of 30 seconds on, 40 seconds off. All right, let's go through our exercises. Okay, team. So again, that beginning we're going to do in your own space, 10 reps each for 3 sets. It's all shoulders. So what you're going to do is have your own little set of dumbbells and a kettlebell. You're going to start by doing 10 overhead shoulder presses. This is a very standard exercise that we do quite often. So you'll do 10 of these. Put your weights down, switch to your kettlebell. We're going to do 10 halos, and that's going to be 5 each direction. So a halo, if you're new with us here, or as a reminder, of course, going around the head. We're going to switch direction each new rep. So we're trying to keep this kettlebell as low and as tight into the head and neck as we can, meaning we're trying not to make it be way over the head, like so. So you'll do 10 of those, 5 each direction. Kind of roll out your shoulders, shake it out, grab your dumbbells, 10 more presses, grab your kettlebell, 10 more halos, and so on. You're going to do that for 3 rounds, with kind of as little rest as possible. And that is our first little set we're all doing together. Okay, first exercise, and yes, it's a different day in a new club. Some of my videos did not record, so 2 days here to do this. Okay, the first exercise in our circuit is a bottoms up goblet squats. For this, you need a kettlebell. Okay, bottoms up means that we hold the bell up, okay, kind of self-explanatory, right? And from there we do a typical squat. So many of you have been with us for a long time, very familiar with squats. Sink those hips down and back. Make sure that your heels are staying on the floor so they're not picking up like this. Also make sure we're not leaning too far forward, so keep that chest up as high as you can. And the kettlebell stays at the chest. One thing you want to make sure is that it's not falling down like that. So that is our bottoms up goblet squat. Okay, next up, wide rows. You need 2 dumbbells for this. It's very different. A typical row is palms turned inward, it's more narrow, elbows stay in nice and tight, right? We're gonna be in that same body position, but now we're holding our dumbbells in kind of an overhand grip. See how already it's different from our typical neutral grip. And right, you're gonna want to go lighter. So for example, if I could do a typical narrow row with maybe the 20s, I'm probably gonna grab the 12s or maybe the 10 to 15s for this one, because it's hard. We're gonna go out wide. So cutting out wide, elbows are flaring out. I'm still keeping about a 90-degree bend in my elbows, however. By that I mean we don't want to do a fly, we don't want the arms to be straight. So you're still bending the elbows, squeezing back. And notice I'm gonna drop the weight so I can hold the position. My elbows though, my body position is kind of making like a square right here, right? So you want to be coming out wide. Back is nice and flat, so make sure we're not rounding our back. But again, it's called a wide row for a reason. We are bringing that row out wide. It does feel very different than a typical row. So again, you'll need to go a little bit lighter and just try it a few times. It does feel kind of strange. Next station is going to be battle rope. I'm going to let your coach decide what the battle rope, the type of battle rope exercise is going to be. So I'm not going to demonstrate anything. So battle rope is the station, coach's choice. Overhead reverse lunge is the next one. Alrighty, let's break this into pieces. So many of you are familiar with our typical reverse lunge without the overhead component. So let's review that very quickly. So start with feet together, big step. Do the big step back, bend both knees, and then feet together. You're gonna switch sides. A couple things, you only go as low as you're able. You don't have to get the knee to the floor like I did. You work towards that. We wanna make sure we're not folding and falling forward. like this. So instead of that, we want the back, watch my back is going to stay perfectly, for the most part, perfectly straight up and down. And last kind of thing about a lunge, very, very important, is the back foot position. You want to make sure, I'm going to look at you from the front. You want to make sure when you step back, your foot is rolled up on the toe, like this. And that's how you're able to bend that knee. If you're trying to force the heel down, you can't bend your knee. Also, you want to make sure that the foot doesn't sort of cock out to the side like this. And then you're doing that, it's really a bad angle on your knee. So the balance is a big component with lunges. So you might need to be near a rack so you can not. Anyway, so that is the lunge. Now we're going to add what's the overhead component. Arms are overhead. We want some shoulder activation here. So we don't want the arms to be kind of loose like this. That's not doing very much. But if I take it from this to this, straightened out my arms, flexed my hands, I'm forcing my arm in towards my earlobe, towards my ears, and that's making my shoulders have to really squeeze. So again, we want very focused, straight arms. Purposely straight arms. So we're trying to go from this to this. Now we're going to add the alternating reverse lunge. Side. Again, I'm not holding forward. I'm keeping up tall and straight. It's best to do this in front of the mirror because I promise you, maybe halfway through the set, those arms might start to kind of do this and you can kind of check yourself. So, arms straight, bicep close to the ear, don't lean forward, keep the back foot straight. Next is a burpee. Yeah, I said it. But we're gonna do with a plank jack. So we're gonna add some more jumps to this typical burpee exercise, but it kind of breaks up the burpee a little bit. So actually it's kind of nice. Let me move my camera farther back so I'm all in frame. We're gonna do this on an incline surface, so a bench or a box. Hands down, jump back. Now I'm gonna do a jack with my feet meeting out and back in. Jump in, jump up. Just kind of do a little angle so you can see my back feet a little bit better. Let's see if we're going to do it now. So a couple in a row. Looks like this. Make sure that you're jumping way far back. So you're in a nice plank position, so we don't want to come back just to here. And you can turn any of those into steps, meaning watch. I'll do all of them steps so you can see what they would each look like. Step back, tap out, step in, reach up. See how I didn't do any jumps there? That's if we need to maybe take away the impact on the knees, even though it is very gentle impact, however. So you can do any combination you need. Maybe the jump, you want to step out, but this jump is light enough for you to not hurt the knees. Step back in, reach up. Any combination of turning any of those into steps that you need to do is totally fine. But that's our burpee plank jack. Next one, medicine ball chest press. So, yeah, we're on the floor for this. With the medicine ball, bend those knees so you have a little back support, We want to grab the ball on the outsides. It might be tempting to kind of put your hands under, and then you don't have to really grip anything, and you're simply pressing up and down, right? We want to actually bring those hands all the way to the outside so that, I'm going to drop this on myself, that's not going to feel good, but I want to make a point. So that if you were to not press in hard enough, the ball would fall. That's not going to happen, don't worry. But the reason for that is we want to be pressing inward, because when you're pressing inward on something, you're activating your chest muscles, those pec muscles. All right, so we're pressing into the side of the ball, and then we're pressing up. Okay, make sure you're not shrugging your shoulders like this, so the ball shouldn't be pressing over your head. It should be over your low chest or even your rib cage, because you want the elbows in kind of snug next to your side. So even if this feels light, if you can maybe do a typical dumbbell chest press with a 15 in each hand, that's a total of 30 pounds. But it's different. When you have a weight balancing like this, you don't even need to be gripping. You're not activating those. You're not pressing inward like that. So the weight might feel light, but between pressing inward on the ball and doing the up and down pattern with a little bit of speed, it's going to get fatigued. Your chest and your shoulders are going to feel that fatigue. So try this one out, medicine ball chest press. Our last exercise needs no demonstration, I'm sure, but just in case, standard jumping jacks. You want nice full arm swings and nice wide jumps with the feet. And that's going to look different. Wide is different for everyone depending on your leg length. But what we want to avoid is kind of like the arms just doing little movements like this. We want full arm swings. And the alternative for no impact is what we call a step jack. So you still do the arm swings, but you do a quick step touch side to side instead of the full jump. I like the full step as opposed to a tap because the full step is simply more movement. You're needing to take a full step, which is it's going to better replicate kind of that lateral movement that we want to do. When you tap out and in, you're not needing to pull your weight back in. So anyway, that's my preference for an alternative is the step jack. So jumping jack or step jack. Okay, team builder this week. It's going to be a partner hand clap. So you're in a high plank position. That means you're on your hands instead of your elbows. You're going to be with a partner. And it's okay if your partner and you aren't doing the same type of plank, meaning toes versus knees. However, if anyone is on an incline plank, you'll want to pair up with someone else doing an incline plank, or your coach can be your partner as well, of course. Anyways, you're going to be face to face with your partner. So my partner would be right in front of me a couple of feet. You're in a high plank, so you're on, like I said, that means you're on your hands, not your elbows. We want to watch out for hips up high. So you want those hips level. Now, if needed, feel free to drop down to a knee plank. Totally fine. If you're in a knee plank, make sure your hips are still level and you're in sort of a diagonal line here as opposed to just being in a tabletop. You'll notice when you pop those hips back like that, it takes away the core engagement, which is what we want in a plank. So again, you're face to face with your partner. I recommend a wide foot or knee placement. That's going to help you feel more stable. And you're clapping hands like this with your partner that's right in front of you. Okay. And again, so if you're on your toes and your partner's on their knees, it doesn't matter. You're still face to face doing a plank. You can do the same thing. Again, if you're on an incline plank, you'll want to pair up with someone on an incline plank, and you can both put your hands on one side of a bench or a box. So anyways, we're going to do that for 2 rounds of 30 seconds. Okay, everybody, that is our week 3 of the new year. Hope you enjoy this week's workout, and I hope you're enjoying the new warm-up and cool down as well.